The participants' views are their own, do not represent their organizations or affiliations. Data discussions and visualizations are for informational purposes only and should not be considered as financial, legal, or tax advice.
Don't close your eyes. I could see everything all of a sudden.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect transition now that we've kind of seen, what the elephant token is about and the value capture. And once we understand deeper what Bertha, the elephant treasury, is doing for the protocol, you'll be really able to tell how, okay, this system is generating debts and liabilities also with things like futures and NFTs. And how do those debts and liabilities get paid off? And that's the magic of this, is when, the supply shock ensues. Remember that the elephant treasury, Bertha, is comprised of elephant tokens, right? And today she's valued at around $30 million, in addition to the $56 million in lock liquidity. Don't forget that part. But because Bertha is $30 million, she's comprised of elephant tokens. As she squeezes the LPs and puts a chokehold on the circulating supply, when Elephant 10x's in price, so too does Elephant's Bertha treasury value. So that 30 million will be 300 million. And this chart that I have pulled up right now is just historical data showing such since June of last year. So you have two colors here. You've got the purple, which is the token growth on this chart. And this is Bertha's token count growing somewhat linearly. Okay, it's just a steady beat. And then this is when futures came out right here at the end of January. And then you can see that purple linear token growth is really accelerating. Okay, but more interestingly is the blue, which is the value of the elephant treasury. You see the explosive growth that's happening at a rate faster than the linear growth. And this is because of, the flippening, where she is now bigger than the circulating supply, those tokens in the wild, and she is controlling the price more and more as time goes on. And so this very concept right here, which was proven true a year ago, this is how futures towers above the rest of DeFi in regards to a sustainable ROI DApp. And we'll get into that right now, because once you understand this Bertha's value exponential growth, just understand it is designed and engineered to outpace the debt and liabilities in the system. And I'll pull up one interesting graph. Well, actually, let's talk about futures. I'm going to show the dashboard and what it looks like, and then we can go into what's happening here. So essentially, futures is a BUSD contract, okay, where you will it's a high yield savings account where you will lock up your principal that you inject into this protocol, and you will earn 0.5% a day in BUSD. Now, there's two main differences of why this will succeed and sustain longer than anything we've seen in DeFi. And those two things are, it stops hyper compounding and it stops the serial claiming, which has killed dozens of other protocols that have had similar tokenomics that followed the old model. But this one does not have a simple compound button for a cheap 50-cent gas fee. In order to compound your rewards, which you'll see right here, I have nearly 700 BUSD in rewards. If I wanted to compound this into my total value, I would have to inject a minimum deposit, which in this system is $200. So if I put in 200, this 700 will compound in on top of that, and then I will be earning 0.5% a day on a larger balance here. And then lastly, claiming. So instead of compounding, what if I took the 700 and hit the claim button instead? Well, it makes you think twice, because this 700 will deduct from my total value if I were to claim it out. So this would subtract out by 700. And then I'll be earning 0.5% a day on a smaller balance. So that kind of keeps it in check and it has people think twice about, oh, if I just serial claim every day, my growth is actually slower. I'm claiming out less BUSD every single time I claim. So
So one question someone posed to me is if you're in a position where you have to partially claim, right? So let's just say we're looking at that 795 BUSD and someone needs to take 500 to pay a bill and then they throw in the remaining 200 BUSD. How would something like that affect their compounding? Obviously, you're taking out $500 from your total value, but um, you still have the 200 to compound. It's just, I mean, I guess it kind of question answers itself, right?
yeah, they just have to leverage time. So in this case, I have nearly 700 in rewards. If I knew I only needed 500, then that means, what's nice about knowing that you're earning 0.5% a day off of a certain value is you can do some simple math and kind of calculate, okay, this will say 500 next Thursday or something like that. I have to go in, set an alarm, and I will claim out that 500 next Thursday. If they missed it, and it grew to 700, well, you can't break that apart, right? They would just have to claim out the full 700, hang on to that extra 200, and then use that to compound a little bit later. So, yeah, you just leverage time and schedule it yourself.
And yeah, and I mean, ultimately, like the way you described it is it's a savings account, but unlike a typical traditional savings account, you can't take your initial deposit all at once. You essentially have to wait for that 5% payout every day.
Correct. That 0.5% payout really you can compound that to some great heights. And now probably some of the people that are familiar with the quote unquote ROI DAP, we're going to get into exactly why this is sustainable and it's going to blow your mind. But before I get to that, just understand that, you want to build your bag in such in a manner that you can afford to do. So some people are, injecting $200 a week. Some are doing it once a month or once a quarter, but you're leveraging time before you put in that $200 injection. And, you do it for a period before you start really claiming out. So you could use this as a cash flow engine. So here's an example, right?
Right.
I were to build this bag right now of 31,000 and I don't want to claim anything until I hit my personal goal, which would be 100,000 locked. Okay. Let's say that takes 10 months from now. I'm going to wait and do that. And once this says 100,000, now I know I'm earning there's limiters in place, which is more detailed, but I might step down into the next little bracket, but for all intents and purposes, I'm earning 0.5% a day of $100,000. Okay. And that is $500 a day that is coming into this interest earned, right? Now, once I hit my $100,000 goal, I'm going to switch to a 3-to-1 compound claim schedule, meaning for 1 week, I will let it build up and claim it. And then for 3 weeks, I will let it build up and compound it. And when I switch to that model and I'm at 100,000 and I'm earning 500 a day, well, 1 week at 500 a day is $3,500 a week, right? So what I would do is I would claim my $3,500. It will deduct from my 100,000, right? And it'll go down to 96,500. But I pocketed $3,500. Now I let it build for 3 more weeks, which will roughly be $10,000 built up. I will compound it with $200. And when I compound that 10,000 into my 96,500, I'm now sitting at 106 or 107,000 that I'm earning 0.5% a day on. And then I rinse and repeat. I'd let it build up for 1 more week. And now I pulled out maybe 3,700. So in a nutshell, basically, you can pull out once a month from this ecosystem. The first time I pulled was 3,500. 4 weeks later, when I pull again, it'll be like 3,700. 4 weeks later, when I pull again, it's 3,900. So you see how each of my claim periods are larger than the previous claim period, and that is essentially a monthly income starting at 3,500 a month, and then each subsequent month it goes up a little more, a little more, a little more. You see where I'm going?
Oh yeah, absolutely. In I I I think that's good that you describe it as a savings account. What I've always seen it as is just like it says there, is a cash flow engine. But I mean, you have to save, and like you also said, leverage your savings against time to create that cash flow.
Yes.
And I mean, honestly, I mean, I think one of the best ways to look at it is the $1 million max wallet for something like this. And then, you know, based on that, you're not getting a $500 a day payout, you're getting a $5,000 a day payout. Now, there might be people out there like who say, okay, hey, $1 million, that's kind of tough. That's not very attainable. But I saw someone's calculation where I think, what is it? Uh, you save 200 every week. I mean, obviously it would take a few years to get there, but it's possible if you don't claim for a certain amount of time, that can be done. So I think what I need to do is find that figure and present that somewhere down the line.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And everyone's going to have their own schedules as far as how often they want to compound and also what they want to grow their locked balance to before they start a claim compound schedule. Um, but let's go into how it's sustainable in the fact that, this isn't just pure money in, money out like some of the other, protocols we've seen. This is built on top of the elephant treasury Bertha, which is what we learned about recently. And you can see this elephant treasury today has 152.7 trillion tokens valued at $31.5 million. So when it comes to funds that enter into futures, this is how it cycles through. And this is how you'll realize it is sustainable. So I'm going to bring up an image right here. And this is a deposit that occurred about a month ago. Okay. This is the same yield tab that I just had up on my screen. And there was a user that came in and put in $400,000 into futures. Okay. And it stacked into this BUSD treasury I have circled, which already had like $118,000 sitting in there plus the 400. So now you're looking at 518,000. But for easy, explanation, I'm going to say one person put in $518,000. Okay. So follow me on this. So, and you'll also see too, the elephant treasury was smaller than 152 trillion, right? This says 144 and the value was only 24.5 million versus today's 31.5. So, it's already grown in 1 month. So, but check this out. If it was you, KH, that put in this $518,000 into futures and you locked it away, you want your ROI on that at some point, right? You're not just going to throw that away.
Of course,
And
yeah.
yeah, and what happens here is that this $518,000 first lands into this BUSD treasury, and there's a daily background percentage of up to 50%. Okay. And follow me here. That comes out of the BUSD treasury. It purchases Elephant token and then stuffs it into the Elephant treasury Bertha. And it does this over, every single day, 50% of this value. So after 24 hours, this would go down to, 270,000 or whatever. And then it just keeps buying elephant tokens. But fast forward, $518,000 gives Bertha 2.5 trillion tokens. So at the price of elephant, when this deposit occurred, that equates to 2.5 trillion tokens going into the elephant treasury. So now, here we are 10 months to a year later, and you want to start claiming out some of your, 500,000 BUSD that's owed to you. And even though you today gave Bertha 2.5 trillion tokens, by the time you add up all the payouts coming out to help you ROI, The elephant treasury didn't sell the very same 2.5 trillion tokens to give you 500,000 USD. When you add it all up, she would have only sold a fraction of that, probably 300 billion tokens or 500 billion tokens. Either way, she's selling less tokens than you gave her to give you the exact dollar value back that you expect because she's growing in size and value. Let that sink in. You see how she's selling less tokens to actually give you back that value. And it all goes back to this chart right here again. The purple is her token count growing, and the blue is her value exponentially growing. So by the time you're owed your 500,000, she only has to sell a small amount of tokens to give you back $500,000. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And once again, this kind of goes to uh the brilliance of the smart contracts that operate on top of one another, right? So the BUSD treasury isn't just sitting there. It's operating with other smart contracts to create that cash flow for people. And I think you described that really well.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And so, that's pretty much the linchpin to everything is the fact that the elephant treasury makes this whole protocol run the way that we're talking about. When we look at this red and blue chart again, as long as, and it's proven and engineered to do this, but as long as that red size of Bertha keeps growing, that too means the elephant price is growing because people can profit take all they want. Um, and just like we've seen, in this dynamic pie chart, the participant holdings are going to fluctuate as people buy and people sell. But what's really cool is, and there's no sell shaming at Elephant because there's deep liquidity that can handle anything and everything you throw at it. And every time someone sells, Bertha gets a cut of that sell tax, and then she gets a little bit bigger. She puts the circulating supply in a deeper chokehold, and she just squeezes the price back up. Like it's amazing how it's all engineered and flows together.
Right. And I also think there's no self shaming too, because like you said, as it Elephant is a reflective token, there's also a portion of that tax that goes to the participants. So,
Yes.
you know, that that kind of negates any reason to shame anybody.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. And if you think of the Elephant Money Protocol overall as a business, um, your Elephant token that you hold, is kind of the share price. That's your stake in the business, and you obviously want that to go up, and it will. But as it multiple X's and 10 and 50 X's and beyond, you're going to be tempted to sell, which go ahead. You can sell it all and not have any more skin in the game, or you can responsibly take some profits, 10, 20% whenever you get there. But that's what's magical about futures and the NFTs and Stampede and other various protocols within that. Those yield generating protocols are what you can build to have a monthly income to live off of, so such that you don't need to sell your entire bag of elephant tokens. So yeah, it's really cool how much you can diversify into this. It even has
Yeah.
farms. If you have
Yeah.
blue chips, you can put it into the farms on Elephant Money. It's crazy.
Yeah, and you know what? I was about to say this is a good right before you added the component of farms, but farms is something unto itself too. You mentioned Stampede, that's another component of the elephant money ecosystem. But I think this is a good way to begin talking about the latest offering of elephant money NFTs, unless there's something else you wanted to add.
No, no, I think it's a perfect segue into the NFTs. Let me just look at some other stuff right here. So, actually, yeah, here's another good chart too. But basically, it's just showing the the yellow line on the bottom of this chart is showing the amount of deposits that have come into futures, and then as people have compounded, the futures TVL, which is the debt, has climbed too. That's why the blue is a little bit larger. But when you look at then the purple and the dark blue line above that, those are Bertha's growth and value. you see how it just towers above and recently has exponentially climbed faster than the linear growth of the debt. Okay, so just pay attention to this blue line and the linear growth of this debt versus the exponential growth of Bertha's value. And this is only going to get more pronounced as time goes on, as Bertha gets bigger and squeezes and has that multiplicative effect on the value of the elephant token price. This will tower leaps and bounds above the future's debt and liability. It'll eventually get to a point where there's enough value in Bertha to pay off the future's debt 50 times over and continue to climb. Like, that's how this is engineered. Right now, there's enough value. Futures TVL is about $10 million today, and Bertha's already valued at 31 million bucks. I mean, that's already, at over, two to three times, times over that it can pay out the futures debt. But, we obviously don't want to do all of that. You're going to unwind Bertha's growth and the supply shock that's happening. But you just imagine over time, Bertha's value is really going to go up, 20, 30, 50 times over.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point, and this once again kind of elucidates that question earlier that I got from a regulator in terms of having a treasury and why a treasury is important. When you have a loan to value ratio such as the one between futures and Bertha, and how Bertha can pay that out 3 times over, like you mentioned, that just goes to show once again how this was thought out and crafted and put together as a decentralized community bank, and it holds true to true banking fundamentals.
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So, all right, I'll jump over to the NFT page here. And yeah, so this is the latest addition to the ecosystem right now. This, once the marketplace hits, you'll have an in-house marketplace where you can sell any of the extra NFTs that you don't want. But right now, you can mint your NFTs and you can stake them in this protocol here. And when we look at the stats for how many have been minted and staked, I mean, we're rounding. There's going to be 10,000 NFTs that are available in this round one, and we're already close to 3,000 having been minted, and 1,900 have already been staked. And so everything that's come into this, folks can come in and they can see a real-time APR of what they're going to be earning as elephant token rewards. But right now we're sitting at 66.2% APR. And just to give you an example of what some of these tokens look like, yeah, here's the collection here.
Well, I was going to say, so the 66 point some odd APR, right?
Yes.
How's that defined? Is that on the actual price of the NFT, or is that the cumulative price of all staked NFTs, or how is that number arrived upon?
Yeah, certainly. It has to do with, let me see if Bertha's not here, but the elephant treasury is what's paying the yield for these NFTs. So we already saw that the elephant treasury Bertha is valued at $31.5 million today. And she's paying out at a 1% APR of her value that comes out 1% APR and then gets divvied out across all the staked NFTs. Okay. So dependent on Bertha's value and dependent on how many NFTs are staked, that's how much of a slice of the pie that you're receiving. So each NFT you can reasonably expect to get about 66% APR right now. This number will obviously go up and down depending on staked amount and Bertha's value. Now, getting these NFTs today really, and they're one BNB, but they really set you up for the future when we know that the elephant token is going to just absolutely skyrocket. We go back to the left half of this chart, and that parabolic action that we saw before, where, I mean, geez, it took 30 days, but it went from a 40 million market cap up to a 560 million market cap in 30 days, based on the supply shockonomics that are happening right here, with Bertha's size growing and the LP's token in the wild shrinking. This is a long-term hold, but you can imagine when history repeats itself, and elephant token at 200 million market cap today goes into multiple billion-dollar market cap in the future. This is a protocol, a multi-billion-dollar protocol waiting to happen. But when that occurs, you know that the elephant treasury, Bertha's value, is also going to supply shock with the token. So 1% APR of $31 million today, that's nothing compared to what's going to happen in the future. When you're getting 1% APR off of, $1 billion in the elephant treasury, or 10 billion, or 50 billion in the elephant treasury. Depends on how long you want to stake and what you believe the protocol can do. Personally, not financial advice, but I think this is a top 10 crypto token that will sit right up there along with the big wigs. Okay. And you're perpetually going to earn elephant token rewards holding this NFT. And I'll also throw out, before I finish on that, this round one has 10,000 NFTs at 1 BNB a pop. But each subsequent round of 10,000 that come out, they double in price. So round 2 will be 2 BNB per NFT. Round 3 will be 4 BNB. You see where I'm going? It just keeps doubling in price. So your natural floor price of your NFT that you got for 1 BNB today is going to appreciate in price as well.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, there's only almost 20% of this first round that's been, or well, not minted, but that's been staked. So there's still some room for somebody to get in at that 1 BNB. And like you said, as time moves forward, that NFT price will only double and go up more in value as future rounds come about.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I have displayed is an example of what they look like. It's just a very simple graphic. They're all common NFTs, except for there is a series, the Black series. There's every time you mint, you have a 6% chance of landing a Black series card, which I have an example of what that looks like right here. And it's a gradient of gray to black, but this is a rare card that will get you free access to any future global Elephant Money event that will happen as this becomes bigger and cracks the top 50 and top 20 cryptos. They have Bitcoin conventions, think along those lines. You're gonna have Elephant Money conventions, and the black card will get you into that. And yeah, the resale value is there. And I think I already mentioned, but yeah, you do get Elephant Money rewards as what you have. So you'll see I have 12 NFTs staked right here, which I don't know what happened to my cursor here, but the 12 NFTs staked so far, I've accumulated 46 BUSD worth of elephant token, right? So I'm just getting passive elephant token rewards coming my way. And if I just hold this here and never did anything with it, and I didn't accumulate any more, if elephant token 10x, that means this $46 becomes $460.
Wow.
But it's also
Or
climbing in token count. Yeah.
you could once it hits 200 BSD, flip it and put it into your futures.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, SK, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate you taking time out again to explain this better to me, because I definitely learned a few things, and making yourself available to answer, once again, some of my questions and help folks out there understand this protocol a lot better. I'll let you have the last word here before we go.
Awesome. Well, KH, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate the platform and this opportunity to share this. I think right now, Elephant Money is relatively underground. And so all the people that are in this protocol right now are in a golden position while we are relatively unknown. But as the Elephant token price action continues to do what it's engineered to do, this is going to be in a bear and bull market, a token that just continually keeps charging up the chart. And chart watchers and algorithms and different websites, they're all going to be pointed at this and like, wow, what is this trending token that just keeps popping off? And I'm trying to do some some TA on this, some analytics, and it just defies all physics, what's happening here. And once they dive in and learn about the Bertha model and the treasury model, they'll really just dive right in. And then this is going to just catch wildfire, much like it did a year ago. But yeah, everyone's in a perfect position right now. The numbers don't lie. This token is already outperforming the world. Yeah, it's poised for greatness. So anyone can reach out to me. I have a YouTube channel. If you type in SKCryptoK, and a Telegram channel, so you can come find me and ask me any questions you have.
I'll be sure to put those in the description so people can find you even easier. And I do encourage everyone to follow you if they want to learn more about Elephant Money. I know I have. And once again, appreciate you coming on this broadcast to discuss it further. So with that, folks, be sure not just to make it a good day, make it a great day with crypto. Crypto with Kamal, and we'll catch you next time.